Alright guys, hey, old blue cord back. Well, this is the video. I had a couple requests about how the OutEquip unit's doing on the old Sprinter van here, and had a kind of an interesting discussion about temperatures and temperatures in the shade. You know, it was a lot of good questions, so I thought I'd just give you my perspective. And try to do this as quick as I possibly can because it's very hot out here. So I have my Sprinter van. It's been out here all day in the shade for the most part. I'm going to give you the temperatures. Now there was a discussion about, and are my thermometers calibrated, and are we going to shooting SpaceX to Mars? And no, nothing's really calibrated. Sorry about that. But I did get a couple thermometers, so we'll see what they read, and then we'll kind of go from there. We'll just use maybe like some perspective on, is it hot, is it not? Right now it's hot, obviously. I just cooled down for a minute, but so let's look at the ambient temperature. So this is outside, and right now we've got a 92.3, and then if I look at the actual what it's reading by my app, we got a 92, and then we got a feels temperature of like 103 with 58% humidity. So probably pretty accurate, it's what we can do. And then with the IR gun, which I noticed the IR gun's off today, pretty good. It's reading 100. I always thought this IR gun was a little more accurate, and you can see where I'm putting the dot. So I'm trying to get the air reading right off the tip, but I can't quite get it. And then the darker colors have a tendency to throw these off just a little bit. The red especially, I think it has trouble with red on a red laser. Anyway, so that's where we're at. And then what I did here is I went ahead, and again, van hasn't moved in days. I went ahead and put a thermometer inside the van, and I did pretty much the driver's seat because this is where all the action's at. I don't know if you guys could do it in some different directions, areas, whatever, but that's saying 97 to 63% humidity, so that's a good 5 degrees than ambient, right? Quite a bit. And then we can do the IR, which, like I said, it's reading a little high today. There is a way to calibrate. I'm not sure on these cheap general guns there's a way to calibrate it. Might look one day, don't care. Yeah. So hot. There's one down there, 99 on the seat. That's the seat you sit on, 104, 105. All right. So we got that kind of out of the way. Not too hard. We can make it more difficult than it needs to be, always. Always want to reinvent the wheel as much as you can. So what I think I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and start the van. I'll go ahead and get a voltage reading, and then I'll go ahead and start the air up, and we'll see what kind of amp draw, and then draw with voltage. Yeah, I think all I'll do is amp draw with the voltage. That seems pretty fair. And then maybe let it run 10 minutes and just get I really just looking for vent temp. I'm not going to let this run hours and hours and hours. I'm going to tell you right now that on this van at this temperature, it's not going to be that cool in there. Maybe in the shade, and or if you're moving, you can drive without the windows down, but it's not that comfortable. And I'll probably do a separate video when I do that one day. I have something to pick up tomorrow. I might be able to do it, but I'm not looking forward to it. I'm going to do it in the morning, obviously. And if this baby, you're looking at some roof temperatures of 130, 140. It's not real pleasant. Obviously, we have absolutely no air insulation. So I've showed that before. Show it again. So let me go ahead and set this down, do a pause. Let's go ahead and get the van started. I don't have my tripod with me, so I'm just going to say, I probably could just start it. That's a big deal. It's like I said, it's been several days since I have, and this will kind of give everything a chance to kind of heat soak, especially we're dealing with temperatures and stuff. I'm sure you're supposed to, do it over time and then make a big spreadsheet, and you can get a PhD in thermometer calibration, but let's go ahead and get this baby started. Like I said, it's ice cold. Get the voltage going. Let that run a little bit. And what I'll do is I'll let it run. Let's let it run a minute. Yeah, let the voltage stabilize. Just look at the back here real quick. Looking pretty good, no smoke. A little diesely, not smoky. That's okay. And now I'm gonna go ahead and open up this side door. And that is gonna knock the temperature down just a little bit. But what I've got is I've got a second battery hooked up to this unit right now, as you can tell. And then that's the unit right there. And then what I like to do there is the 2 batteries, I can let it run without the engine running at least 20 minutes. And these are just cheap lead acid batteries. I do have some lithium ion batteries I've experimented with, but I kind of hinted around. One of them was actually bad, doesn't really take a charge correctly, so not very helpful. So let's recheck our temperature here. 98, yeah, so let's take all this with us. We'll just kind of wing ding it along here. Like I said, I'm going to let the van run a couple minutes, get the voltage up, make sure the batteries are charged. Usually with 12.8, 13 volts, I'm looking at like 50 amps. We're going to find out pretty quick if that's true or not. I think that's right. So probably what I do is I'll just jump in here real quick. And yeah, I've got a piece of furniture in here to kind of make it even a bit more interesting. But let me pause it real quick and I'll get ready and then we'll go back to it. Alright, right back at it. And it's a good hot one in here. So we saw that we got a close to 97, 60% humidity, and it's about 93, 94 on our calibrated. And then we'll try to find the IR gun. Sorry about bouncing around like that. Let's get the IR gun out. Let's just check the ceiling temperature. Sorry, I got the lights on. Yeah, so there's our ceiling temperature. Not bad. 105, 106. 105, 106. Okay. So, we got 13.8 volts. Probably taking a pretty good charge. Not going to worry about that. So what I'm going to do, and this is kind of trouble. I've had trouble with this unit a lot. I've talked about the remote. It's really not intuitive. So you want to do on. But if you're too close to it, it doesn't really want to turn on all the time. It'll beep. It gives you the old beep, but us analog guys used to beep means something, but beep means nothing. And then you're going to hear it start to tool up. I'm sweating bullets, so I'm not going to be in here long. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go to turbo mode. And a little bit weird about turbo mode is it says 63, and then you get the little muscle man there. That's going to be full juice. And then this hot temperature, she's going to be pulling. So the discussion was, well, if you're pulling 50 amps, you know, are you really actually doing anything? And that's a very valid point. Like I said, I used the calibrated forehead. It's blowing cold air, pretty sure. Maybe not. But yeah, so you know how many BTU, blah 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 blah. I don't really know. My biggest problem with all these is airflow, and that's kind of hard to show. They just don't blow a lot, and if I'm trying to really cool my cab, so blowing to the, let's see what happened there. Okay, yeah, blowing to the cab from back here is pretty tough. I've got all the jets blowed this way. Now I could make, and I have thought about making a vent that would go and actually blow straight down, you know, actually make a tin vent of some type just to kind of funnel the air. I apologize for the camera, not really. But I don't think I'm going to go through all that. So, alright. So, we've been running a minute. I'm talking as we go. Pulling down really good. The van's idling, as you can hear. Let's see what we got for amp draw. I'm just going to pull right off the... Oh, yeah. So, we're pulling a solid 60. Let's check the negative. Yep, 60. Okay, so we are agreement, right? And we're taking a charge, hopefully. Yeah, 55 on the charge side. That's a lot on that amp. That's a lot on that alternator. So let's leave it at 60. We know our voltage is dipped. Go back to voltage. Yeah. And I got 2 batteries on this thing. Now neither one of these batteries are real good. And then I always do like a little just feel test. Hot, not too bad. I mean, ooh, yeah, that one's hot. So I can keep my hand on it, but that baby is a pulling. So let's get the IR gun out on that. That's a good one. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, see, we're pulling 100 plus on that cable right there. 112, 110, 112. So it's getting hot. We need to watch that. Yeah, that's how I kind of tell. And this is fused. Really not sure what this is fused for, but it's fused pretty high. But with that kind of amp draw, I mean, that's probably going to be maximum power. Set that down all the way here. Sorry about that, guys. I'm fumbling with my buttons here. This meter's getting old too. Let's go back to that. Yeah, solid 60. Nice. Okay, so let's get a probe going. It's already knocked the temperature down in the cab 3 degrees. That's not bad. Ooh, I'm getting lightheaded standing up though. And then I'm just gonna poke her in there and see what we get real quick. Again, camera's not gonna ever focus when you want it. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I think the camera's over. Actually, I think the phone's overheating. So we're setting down as low as we can. We're pulling maximum amps. The far head test. Oh, it feels good. Whew, nice. Let's look around here. Ooh. Right there, the calibrated far head with a lot of sweat. Let's see. I can't read and do it at the same time. I can do holes. Right. Yeah, 90. 90 on the far head. Okay. So let's do an IR back here. Stop the phone, or I think the phone's overheating. Yeah, we're getting down there. I'm not going to hold it that whole time. Alright, so we're going to do one more. Right here. I'm running up. Let's see what we got. So we're on turbo mode, remember. A lot of it's my vision. I think it's actually in focus more than I think it is. Going down, nice. And it already knocked it down a few degrees, you know, I was pretty impressed. Yeah, I'm getting some good vent temp. And I know you can get some 54s on high load. I'm gonna get even closer because this feels good. Yeah. Big amp draw though, again. Okay, we're down to 59. Now remember I'm in turbo mode, so that's full pull. The little man showing there on the display. And 60. Keep moving around with the focus on focus. On the focus. Getting a 60. So we got 60. It's 93 outside, right? Yes, 93 outside. I am going to turn off the light. Okay. Yeah. And then I'm gonna lay it right back here in our calibrated position. And I got a 77 down there, and I'm still 95 in the seat, and that's where the issue is. Most of your air is blowing from the unit kind of into this, and then not really into the cab. And then of course I'm not insulated any place. No insulation. And nothing on the windows. I think the next thing is windows, tint on the windshield, thermal tint, and that would really make a difference, because you're sitting there at 95. And we've run probably 10 minutes. Still pulling good. Yeah, still pulling good. So that's about the gist of it. Now we can stand here 20 minutes or more. Turn one of these this way so it blows it in. Nice. We can you know, we can talk some more, talk about calibration and uncalibrated, non-calibrated. Yeah. But looks like we're gonna get a 60 vent temp today. And then like I said, 93, that's a 30-degree difference, right? Probably more. It's coming down, coming down. Oh yeah. She's liking it. So there you go. I'm gonna call it a 58. It's still going down. My arm's getting tired from holding it, so. Okay, so that's your OutEquip unit on a hot day. We're gonna knock this cab down some more. I'm gonna stand in front of this baby with the forehead. I wanna make sure my forehead is calibrated correctly. We're down as low as we can go on that. Hopefully the fan is high enough. Sometimes it's confusing if the fan is really that high, so we kind of mess with it. Yeah, the remote just doesn't work that great. We're knocking her down though. I mean, I'm getting some 92s down here. Let's check that battery terminal. Not bad, not bad. I'm gonna feel it too with my fingers. So yeah, but we're still 95 in the cab, and that's the problem. It has knocked the humidity down a lot, that makes it feel a little better. But yeah, that's where we're at. And of course your windshield, I don't know if I can even get the windshield to read. I'm gonna get down on the front there. Yeah, 100, 100, 100, and that's all in the shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick it back in the, I gotta park it someplace else, so we'll get a little hot temp going. I'm gonna leave this baby run. Thanks a lot. This is part 2 of the OutEquip, the old OutEquip unit, and this is helping out Sprinter-source.com. It's a big forums for Sprinter. I think almost all the years, I believe. So yeah, it's a really good source. I'm standing in front of this air conditioner. Yeah, so it's a really good source. You know, I like forums. I think you should support forums. Thanks again, Old Blue Accord, over and out. Sorry about the first video I'm going to put up too, but I think the camera overheated. It's pretty hot in here, so we'll yeah, it's down to 89, but that's going to be it for 5 minutes. But thanks again for looking, and Old Blue Accord, over and out. Thank you. Bye bye. And then I'm just going to poke her in there and see what we get real quick. Again, camera's not going to ever focus when you want it.